Hello everybody, this is Devdas of Sanjay Leela Bhansali. The name may not mean a lot to you, but to me it means one of my favorite Indian directors of all time. Is he India's answer to David Lean? I don't know, but both of them have a lot of things in common. For instance, they both love big epic historical dramas and stuff like that. Leela Bhansali also has a fondness for having some of the biggest and best song and dance numbers, and he also likes to kill his own main characters. There are of course exceptions, so you're never quite sure which type of Bhansali movie you're going to get. Now, I've said on multiple occasions that movies affect other movies. So, for instance, if this would have been my first Bhansali movie, would I have thought that this movie was better than if I hadn't seen, Padmavati and Bajar Mastani and Ramleya before that? I don't know. There's also this question of how much can I like a movie which genre I'm not totally into. This is probably as high as a movie like this can go, because we are about to descend into absolute darkness, but in the most magnificent and glorious and wonderfully shot way possible. This is Devdas. So Devdas, played by Shah Rukh Khan, is returning to his wealthy family in India. It is the very early 20th century, and he has spent a lot of time in London. Everybody's just so excited for his return. Especially Devdas' strong-willed mother. She has awaited his return with bated breath. And Devdas himself is of course very excited to come home to his big estate, because he is going to be able to meet Peru again. Peru and him were sort of kindred spirits. They were soulmates when they were very young, and now that they're adults, he is intended to, reawaken this thing, and they're going to be, husband and wife and stuff like that, and he cannot wait to reunite with her. There is just this tiny little problem, and that is who Peru's mother is, because she was a dancer. Now, in this case, she's not, a ballet dancer or a tango dancer or something like that. A dancer in this context means prostitute, and she was a prostitute who kind of married up and, tries to get into high society, and high society, kind of shuns her in that way, and that is especially goes double for Devdas' mother. And of course, Peru's mother is not a woman who takes bullshit or disrespect. Essentially, you can say that there are two wrenches in this love machine. There is also the case of Devdas' sister-in-law, who has a weird case of bitch face. I have a great bitch face, says Cersei Lannister. Hold my Kingfisher lager, says sister-in-law, and proceeds to have the best bitch face in cinema history and give old Cersei a run for her money. And then there is a rift between our star-crossed lovers, and that opens up an entire chasm of tragedy that will be, foretold to us by Leela Bhansali in the most beautiful way possible. This thing is a classical epic tragedy of, misunderstandings and backstabbings and betrays and pleadings and stuff like that. And just when you think that things couldn't possibly get any worse now, can it? They somehow found a way to, say that, nope, this is just the beginning. It's going to get even worse. And then after a while you will say, well, now certainly we cannot get any lower than this. We have hit absolute rock bottom. Nope. And then they pull the lever and the bottom falls out of everything, and you just fall down to something that is so tragic and so horrible that you think that, my God, how did they even come up with this? But it is all tucked into this fantastic, wonderful world that Leela Bhansali has created for us. The sets looks amazing. The costumes are fantastic. It looks so fantastic. The lighting, the choreography, the atmosphere, the tone of this movie is absolutely magnificent. We have so many fantastic characters, and we have a bunch of actors doing a fantastic job with a bunch of very complex characters, and you're never quite sure where this one is going, even though you can say that, well, this doesn't bode well for so-and-so when so-and-so is doing that, and then you think, oh shit, that happened. And sometimes Bhansali lures you in thinking, oh, this is gonna happen, and then he just whacks you over the head, and then you just go, oh my god, that was so painful. This is a tough movie to watch. I seriously doubt that you will see this movie more than once you've seen it, because when this is over and the last haunting image comes to you, you will say, I'm never gonna watch this movie ever again. But it was very, very good. Because all of this leads to what I can only describe as one of the greatest endings to an Indian movie I have ever seen. But there is a couple of problems with this movie. For once, this is not really my type of movie, so I had a difficult time getting into this type of a story. So if you like tragic, romantic dramas, you will see this movie and you will say, I can't believe that you can do better than this one. And I probably agree. The problem is that this is not really my kind of a genre, so I didn't like this as much as I would have liked to like it. I mean, I have seen a bunch of Bhansali's other movies and I absolutely love them. Bajaru Mastani is fantastic. Padmavat is one of my absolute favorite Indian movies of all time. And Ramleela, that is an excellent movie. By the way, the Indian version of Romeo and Juliet. Of course Bhansali has done that because, you know, his fascination for killing main characters. But if I would have seen this movie before I saw those movies, would I have think that, you know, that movie would have been better than I think about it now that I've seen his absolute masterpieces, and then I see this is one of his, I don't know, is it his breakthrough movie? I don't know, but it's one of his earlier works. And nevertheless, this movie also have the classical problem that some Indian movies is settled with, is by having a very slow start and, you know, taking a lot of time to set up things. And it is a good thing to set up things, but sometimes couldn't you move a little bit faster? Because even though this movie is 3 hours and 5 minutes, this movie has some pacing issues, and you really feel those 185 minutes that these movies consist of. This isn't like an RRR that just rushes by because it is so spectacular fun and, you know, entertaining. This movie is a very, very tragic, very, very serious drama, and I guess it needed those 3 hours and 5 minutes, but still I got sometimes a little restless and thinking, can we pick up the pace just a little bit? But there are some sequences that are just so amazing. Some song and dance numbers that are just so epic, and you're just thinking, how the hell did he even shoot this, because it is so spectacular. So this is a movie I really recommend, and some people who really like this type of movie will say that this is one of the greatest movies that they have ever seen. But if you have any doubt if you're going to like it or not, because you don't like tragic love stories and stuff like that, this is probably one of the greatest examples of it you will ever see. I like his other works better, but this is still a spectacular, incredibly beautiful movie that I really recommend. This is a very special movie. They don't make these kind of movies anymore, and if you want to see something like this, see Devdas, because it is a very, very, very good movie. One thing Devdas did that I thought was very good, very unique and very smart is the following. Despite the fact that we're having 2 psycho moms, 1 horrible dad and bitch face, this movie is almost free from villains. There isn't any conspiracy against Devdas or Peru by some mustache twirling villain or something like that. All the things that happens to them is because of their own choices. All the wounds inflicted to them in this movie, and there are loads of them, are of their own making. They are their own worst enemies, and that is the thing that I really appreciated from Devdas. This is a tricky movie to rate. Impressive sets, fantastic costumes, great song and dance numbers, a great story, fantastic performances. But there is also this case of that I've seen so many Indian movies that I think is so much better than this one is, and I've also seen a bunch of Bhansali movies that I think is better than this one, so I cannot rate this one over those. So I'm kind of stuck here with the 69 points that Devdas is going to get. I think this movie is absolutely great, but there is just a bunch of movies that I think is so much better than this one, and this is not really my type of a thing. And even though this is a very, very good movie, I cannot give it a higher rating than it is going to get. I love Bensali's scope and I love his visual style. I've just seen it been put to better use in other movies. I think, however, that Devdas is a very, very good movie. So I'll see you next time for Well So and So reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.